everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Gemma. So today we are building an Archaeopteryx habitat here, and it is going to be inspired by an aviary. So basically I went onto Pinterest and I typed in aviaries and zoos, and this reference image came up. I'll pop it down in the bottom corner there so you can have a look at it. And that's what kind of inspired me. For this project, I want to build a little bit more realistic. Lots of like details, lots of backstage areas. And yeah, just try and make it more of a realistic style park for our dinosaurs and mammals. So that's the whole inspiration behind this park. We're going to go highly detailed, try and bash out as much of the animals that we can. So there's currently 14 animals in Prehistoric Kingdom at the moment. I know that they're going to be adding more as update progress throughout beta. But basically, I'm going to try and get as much animals into this zoo as possible. The idea is every Saturday you're going to get a Prehistoric Kingdom speed build of some description from me. It might not necessarily mean that we're going to cover an animal within that build. There's obviously backstage areas we've got to do guest services, and then there's just like the fun stuff as well. I mean, what would you like to see in this park? Let me know in the comments below, and we can make it like highly realistic in terms of the habitats might look a little bit boring, because when you go to real zoos, literally they have paddocks and the animal will be roaming about, and that's essentially that. They don't really put much time or effort into the look and feel of some habitats. Well, that's what I certainly have noticed in the ones that I visited. Or this could be something totally different. We can make it really modern, we can make it quite cool. There can be like 4x4 jeep tours. We can, yeah, the world's our oyster basically. I'm just interested to know what you guys think, and if there's anything that you'd like to see, and we can try and incorporate that into the design of the park and the look and feel. So yeah, this is much of an experimental surprise to myself as it is going to be for you guys. I am just excited to be building in Prehistoric Kingdom. As you guys know, I absolutely adore this game, and yeah, I just want to make a really cool looking dinosaur park essentially. That is the plan. So as you guys know, we have two swooping animals in Prehistoric Kingdom. We've got the Microraptor and the Archaeopteryx. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of facts about the Archaeopteryx. The meaning of the name means old wing. Don't know why that is, but it is what it is. So the Archaeopteryx is basically a cross between a modern bird, an ancient reptile, and a little bit of a theropod. So it's a bit of a mixed bag of different animals here. It was mainly located in Europe, and there was lots of specimens found in Germany. Archaeopteryx is the most famous prehistoric flyer, but if you look under x-rays at the shape of their bone structure, you'll see that they represent more of a modern day bird, such as pheasants. So if you look closer, you'll see that they've got quills. I mean, it could probably take to the air in short bursts. However, the way that the Archaeopteryx flaps its wings is unlike anything alive today, and it's still under study. As I said before, it does have reptilian traits. Its pointy little teeth, which are really sharp, help capture small reptiles and insects. Even possesses the famous elevated killer claw, which you'll see in their dinosaur cousins, which might have played a role in pinning prey to the ground. However, the teeth are smooth and not serrated like those of other theropods. So what's really cool is that scientists have discovered that there is pigment in the fossils of the Archaeopteryx. So they've got a black colour to them, which is quite interesting, considering that if you look at the Archaeopteryx in Prehistoric Kingdom, they're like this white colour instead of what we've got for the Microraptors, which are black. So yeah, interesting to discover that. Anyway, I think that's enough facts for you guys. Hope you've enjoyed it all. I think these are awesome little wee creatures, and I'm really excited to see how they progress in game. So I'm basically recording this in the past, which is weird, because essentially what I want to do is I'm trying to use the Christmas period to get caught up on content. So with that being said, Merry Christmas everyone. I hope you guys had a great time, even though technically it's not been Christmas as of this recording. But regardless, I hope everyone had an awesome Christmas, and it's all down to 2022 now. Hopefully the year's going to get better. If I'm going to be totally honest with you guys, I don't think much is going to change. We're always going to have some kind of variation of COVID, and it's just our lives now. So hey ho, let's embrace it, shall we? Because there's nothing else we can do about it. But yeah, I'm trying to get a schedule put together for 2022. And I have got a little post-it note on my desk, and I decided that I'm going to try and output 2 videos a week and stick to that, and also try and output 2 Twitch streams a week to try and grow that as well. It might be a little bit ambitious considering that I'm still working, I'm still needing to do life stuff, and also personal goals as well. So it's the classic thing, everyone wants to lose weight when it comes to the start of the year, and my losing weight has been on my mind for a very, very, very long time. And I think like this year should be the year. If I can structure my content creating, my streaming, there's an easy way for me to structure trying to get some kind of normality with eating healthy food and all that stuff. Now, I have been on like many a diet program, and some of them work and some of them don't, and it's all really about your perspective and how much that you want it. And I have just been going on and on about my weight and all this stuff, so I'm really hoping that this year's going to be the year. And if it isn't, then I'm going to have to cut things out, as in maybe only put out 1 video a week and maybe 1 stream a week. So I am open to change, but it really has to come within. And if it means having to sacrifice making content for my health, then I'm going to have to do it. That's my thought process anyway for 2022. So hang about, guys, stay with me, and hopefully we can make it a really good year. And I've also got a diary. I've got my 2022 diary sitting beside me. I'm going to plan out each week as it comes. I'm also going to be using Twitter quite a lot, so my schedule will be put up on that. It's more of a streaming schedule that's going to go up on Twitter. It won't be like a video content schedule. That's kind of just for me personal. Like I said, I'm going to try and do 2 videos a week, but that's all subject to change, because if I find that there's a new game that comes out, there's a new DLC comes out, then I'll be like covering that, and we'll just really see how the channel progresses. So just a tiny little update there for you. But yeah, I'm excited for the new year. I hope it's going to be a better one than last year. I hope you guys honestly do have a smashing year. I have to go away and book my COVID vaccine as well, the booster. I'm sitting on the fence about it. I mean, I've heard about so much people who have received the vaccine and they have been ill with it, which is I think it's quite a natural thing. I mean, you are essentially putting this vaccine into your body to fight off something that you could potentially have, but because you don't currently have it, it's trying to build up your immune system, isn't it? And let's face it, my immune system is absolutely rubbish. I'm always getting the cold. Thankfully, I'm okay just now. We'll progress, guys. We will progress. So yeah, sitting on the fence about the vaccine. I know a lot of people will just be screaming at me, being like, oh my god, get your vaccine and stop being a weirdo. And then other people might just be like, you know what, I can totally understand, because it's just constant. We are always going to have some kind of coronavirus, you know, always a different variant, but it's always going to be here. I mean, I'm not going on holiday anytime soon. I don't really have, I don't want to say a need for this, because a lot of people will be like, what do you mean you don't need a need for something that you could potentially get and feel like crap, and if you're vaccinated then it's going to make you, you know, less ill. But yeah, I don't know. I've also been I've been listening to my audiobook. So if you are a subscriber of the channel, you'll know that I am dyslexic, and I have been enjoying a lovely audiobook called Eve of Man. It's not sponsored, nothing about this is sponsored, it's just my personal experience with the book, and it has been absolutely fantastic. I've actually finished it as well. So book 1's down, Eve of Man, complete. So I've just started up book 2, and it's a really great progression of the story. I would highly recommend it if anyone's into an audiobook and you are interested in the story. I'll give you a little synopsis for those who are like, what is Eve of Man? Basically, it is about this character called Eve. She is the firstborn in 50 years female born in 50 years. So basically it came to a point in like dystopian Britain that there was no longer female offspring being produced. It was always males, and she was born, and then it was like, oh my days, we have to preserve you to basically create more females out of you. You're essentially going to save mankind if we can get you to produce more offspring. And they have kept her kind of locked away in the government, so to speak, locked away into a tower, and basically want to just get her to breed. It sounds a bit strange, but it is a really interesting concept. It's basically her understanding of the world being in this kind of like secluded environment. But yeah, that's it essentially, and I'm on book 2 and it's going absolutely fantastic. I don't know what I'm going to do when I get to the end of it, because I'm so sucked into this story to the point where I have found myself like going off to the post office. Like I literally had to nip to the post office this morning. So I dropped the wee guy off at nursery, got my little "We Missed You" card from good old Royal Mail, headed down to the post office, and I find myself like walking from the car to the actual building. And because it was like 8 o'clock in the morning and I had nothing else in my head, I was like narrating the scene of it all, like I was listening to the audiobook. I am such a weird cookie, honestly. I'm so weird. But I was basically like trying to describe it as I was walking. Like, as I got out of the car and the cold air touched my nostrils, I took a sigh as I was tired. You know, like that kind of just really descriptive way of narrating things. Oh my god, I could start using this as an audiobook. Oh god, cringe, abort. I would love to do that. I would love to like narrate a book. I mean, I'd be absolute crap at it because I can't read to save myself, but the actual thought of just sitting down and, you know, making up a story. I love making up stories, honestly. I do it with my son all the time. I love making up just fake things with him. One actually thing that really stuck out to me in primary school, we had to take a family member and we had to make a descriptive paragraph to describe this person, and then we had to provide a photo. And what they done was, I obviously had to write the description of this person, then all the descriptions was placed on the wall, and below that was all the photos. And what we had to do was read the description and then try and point out. So like say description A is of I don't know, old woman in her 60s. She has grey hair, glasses, and a perpetual look on her face. And then you looked at the bottom and you're like, okay, so where's the old woman? And then you'd be like, okay, that's that person. So I remember doing that in primary school and I loved it. I love trying to like just describing people and describing thoughts and feelings and all that rubbish. I've probably lost yous all. Yous have probably clicked off by now. You're probably like, what is she talking about now? She's just talking crap. But no, I love that. I love listening to audiobooks and I love that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't worry. I won't start being really descriptive. Imagine I did. Imagine one episode I was like, hello everyone. Today's audiobook is brought to you by Mrs. TeaRex. As you can see, we're building a habitat for a T-Rex. The T-Rex is currently walking about its paddock and enjoying a sip from the local lagoon. It takes in a deep breath and sighs as it knows that it can't blooming escape. Anyway, I'm not going to do it. I would love to do it, but I ain't going to do it. I bet you I'm going to get into the comment section and everyone's like, oh my god, yeah, but do it. No. Anyway, guys, I am going to wrap this up. Talking about wrapping it up, I know that this is technically in the past and the future because I'm in some kind of time warp, but I have to go to the shops now and basically buy more wrapping paper, which I would have already done that to feature Gemma. This is weird. Honestly, I could make a book. I could write a book. Yeah, I've got to go out and get more wrapping paper. I have got literally about 8 presents I still need to wrap, and they are the big ones. I can't tell you what it is in case the little one's listening, which he definitely absolutely will not be. But yeah, I've got to go and get a big old bunch of wrapping paper. Also tags. I'm sitting on the fence with tags because I've literally got the little guy's presents. I've got my husband's presents, which is literally 2. I could just write his name on them. And then my mum and dad's presents as well. Maybe I should get tags. I bet you they're cheap as chips. And here's me like, I don't want to waste £1 on buying some Christmas tags. What an absolute stinge I am. Absolute stinge. I'm a right Grinch. Grinch? Humbug. Bah humbug. That was in the past. Christmas was great. I bet you bought the tags. Anyway, that's what I need to do now. I'll come back. We'll do the tour. Chat to you guys very soon. Okay everyone, welcome on back, and I'm going to give you guys the tour, and I'm really sorry about the frame rate. It's super janky and I can't do anything about it unfortunately, so we're just going to have to try our best. I'm going to show you guys all the stuff that I've been adding in. So on a little live stream we made a little ticket booth, which if you have already pre-purchased tickets, you can put in your card and press the buttons and it'll spit out your tickets. Also, if you can't be bothered actually standing in a queue, you can also get your tickets from there as well. And I've also put in these lights everywhere else. They remind me of like patio heaters, but we don't have like just normal street lights, so I just thought they were probably the best ones that we currently have in game. I was considering making them myself, but I don't have time. Well, I just can't be bothered doing it, to be fair. And then if you come over this way, I've made a second exit point. So the idea is that obviously this is to get into the zoo. You'll get your tickets over here. You can go into the zoo. And then I thought we need kind of an exit point. So you can see that you can't actually get this way, but you can obviously get out this way. So that was just like a little thought process as well. I also have been working on some car park areas as well. So this I'm wanting to extend because I don't think 6 slots for disabled guests is enough. And I also started making a children's parents parking. So if you are a parent or a grandparent, if you've got kids, then these are the spots for you. So this is basically where I would park. This is like reserved for me. And then up at the top, so we've got like just a standard car park. I do want to put in some foliage in here as well. So yeah, we're going to hop into the park, scan our ticket, beep. And then I'm thinking about putting over this section's like guest services. So there's going to be like an exit for the gift shop idea, and then there's going to be a building here which is going to have like lost and found, if you want to rent out a pushchair, or if you want to rent out like a mobility scooter and that kind of stuff. That's what's going to be over there. And then if you come over this side, you are met with the Archaeopteryx habitat. So I had to actually drop all of this down because when I let the guests in, they were kind of just at level height with the top bar, and I didn't like that. So I have dropped the whole thing. And inside we will see our Archaeopteryx. They are sitting there on the branches. So I've made these like little implied boxes that will have all the information that I basically just spoke to you guys about. Their habitat itself is enough space, I would imagine, because I've got 2 Archaeopteryx habitats in here. And yeah, I think all of them are practically sleeping. Well, these guys aren't. You know what's really interesting as well? How I was talking about the coloured differences of the Archaeopteryx, knowing that there was black pigment within their feathers. And obviously this is the one that I took as a screenshot, with it having like the white, and this one's obviously more brown. But they do actually have a lot of black pigment in them. I don't know why I thought that this was the only Archaeopteryx we have. So yeah, it's interesting to know that Prehistoric Kingdom maybe have developed this with the idea of there being black pigment within their skin, and obviously that quill-like features as well, especially like on the tail and that. I mean, I think they look awesome. Let's just be honest. I think they look great. These are both males. I actually just like spam the whole thing with males. So we've got like a couple up there sleeping, and they've got these 2 down there. Quite impressed that these 2 are right next to each other with the different colour variations, but hey ho. And then yeah, lots of lots of them up at the top. So I've made this quite a high enclosure, so if they did want to obviously come up to the very top branches, then they can. Also loads of like rocky environment. What I have forgot to do is put their little enrichment things on. I'll do that in the future. So we've got like a fake wall at the background. I just thought it would be kind of nice that they're essentially got this like kind of concrete style building, and then they've got obviously this concrete wall at the back, and then they've been like, oh, this doesn't look very guest friendly, so we'll put in like a fake like wall at the back, and then they've got some of the rocks as well. That is their habitat there. This has actually got glass on it as well. I don't know if you can see it very well, but it is actually got glass, so our guests can have a really good look in. Obviously put some foliage in it as well, and then we'll take you down to the backstage area. One thing that I really kind of focused on, so we've got a staff only gate here. I would imagine that this swings open. I'd love to do like latches and stuff, but we'll just zoom past here. So you'd come up here, there's a light at the top in case it's nighttime, and you come inside. Now I've just realized we've got a spike coming out. Let's do some live editing. Boom, there we go. Right, so this is obviously the inside of the backstage area. So I've got a couple of these whiteboards, and we'll have a look at them. So we've got like some storage. I love these storage boxes, I think they're great. I didn't want to clutter it up too much, so I've just put a couple of bits and bobs. And then these charts are basically like, you know, how busy the habitat was, you know, that kind of stuff, like maybe like a feeding schedule. Over here is like a 5S thing. So I work in a printers, and one of the things that we were introducing in the factory was a 5S, which is like going through safety regulations. So it's kind of like everything in its place. So in case you need like this broom, which is currently floating in the air, don't you worry about that, we'll sort that out now. So yeah, you need the broom, so you take that off and you know that that broom goes there. It's one of those things that it's just to make the place like look a lot cleaner and tidier, and I think that's exactly what they would have in some places like this. Yeah, and then this is like a feeding schedule, so it would have like all the names of the Archaeopteryx and, you know, how much food they intake and stuff like that. And then this is the most geekiest thing I think I've ever done in a game. I've got like a little sponge so you could like wipe things off, and then I've got a couple of implied pens there as well, so they can write on the whiteboard. Let's take you to the kitchen. But basically we've got like a little sink here that they can wash their hands before they handle the food or whatever. We've got some knives here as well, which is the junkiest thing I think I've ever built. So yeah, we've got different knives and a little wee chopping board as well. And then one of these is probably like a built-in fridge, and then some like storage, so you just get like bowls and cups and stuff like that. So if you were to go into the Archaeopteryx habitat, you would come through this door, and this is like an airlock system, so if they were to like escape, they can obviously fly up, but they're not going to go anywhere. But yeah, they cannot escape from this prison. If you go through here, you've got the second little door here, which takes you to the Archaeopteryx. We're going to call this like a backstage kind of like chill out area. So you've got the shutter door here, which then allows them to fly if they want to not be on display, if they're kind of, you know, getting a bit overwhelmed and stuff by the guests. Then this shutter door will be open, and they can come in here and just like get away from guests and hang about on these trees here. And it also means that the keepers can essentially get all the Archaeopteryx inside this section, shut this off, and then go and like do a deep clean into their habitat as well. And there's also another little shutter here as well, so let's use our imaginations, kids. So this is it, obviously opening and shutting, and you can see that we've got some Archaeopteryx there. So I'll take you around to that bit next. So if you come out this door, and swivel yourself around. This is like a quarantine area, so this is why I made like a little quarantine sign. So if you had new Archaeopteryx that are just about to kind of get put on display, then this is like kind of a holding area for them. So you see I've got a couple of them in here just all chilling out. And essentially what it means is, you know, maybe if they're not feeling well or maybe they're breeding or whatever, you can put them in here so they're away from guests. And when they're ready to go into that second habitat, then you can essentially like open up the shutter so they can go into like this section. And it also means really that if you were to introduce new animals into the habitat, if you wanted to, you could take this one and shut this off as well. You have the opportunity to like fly between these two enclosures and then like look out to be like, oh, I can see that there's new birds there. So I say birds, new Archaeopteryx there. So it's kind of like that introduction where you don't necessarily just put two new animals straight into a habitat together. You kind of like segregate them a bit to, you know, make sure that they're not going to kill each other or whatever. That's the like fine detail that I've been putting in there as well. So we'll go back out. I'll show you guys from the top where it's situated in our zoo. So it's relatively close to the car park. I mean, I have pushed it back enough that I don't think the cars and stuff would bother the Archaeopteryx, but that's essentially where it is in the whole park. So next time, I think we're going to maybe start working on, if I've not already done this, probably on the like guest facilities, and then we're going to put in another dinosaur. Not entirely sure if we're going to go into this circle here or we might just expand kind of over this area. I've noticed that my zoo's very square. I kind of do this a lot. I'm enjoying it. I hope you guys are too. Sorry about the camera angles, guys. If you've liked the episode, please give it a thumbs up. Always helps out the channel. And I will catch you in the next one. Until then, take care.